Huawei is very dangerous.
Rarely does a country go to war with a private company.
We have met the enemy, and it is Huawei.
We're not going to do business with Huawei.
Huawei represents a national security risk.
But is this really about Huawei? Or is it something bigger than that?
What if I told you that the smartphone in your pocket might look completely obsolete by the end of 2026? And what if the company making that happen isn't Apple, Samsung, or Google, but a brand that Western media spent years calling nothing more than a cheap Chinese knockoff? Right now, in the global tech community, an unusual and, until now, almost unbelievable intrigue is growing. According to reputable insiders, including specialists working with Nikkei Asia and the South China Morning Post, Xiaomi is preparing to unveil the most revolutionary product in the history of mobile technology, a fully transparent next-generation smartphone, a device that only a few years ago existed solely in science fiction and Hollywood films. Let that sink in for a moment. A phone you can literally see through. No plastic back, no metal frame, no visible cameras. Just pure functional glass that lights up from within. According to sources close to Xiaomi's engineering division, the company has been working on the project for more than 4 years, but the last 12 months have been breakthrough ones. Xiaomi, according to knowledgeable experts, has finally come close to creating a fully functional, transparent mobile device with no traditional housing, where the entire visual surface is a single glass module that literally allows the user to see through the phone. But here's where it gets wild. The leaks began cautiously, first in closed technical channels in China, then through indirect patent filings discovered by industry researchers. However, in November, several major tech journalists, including analysts working with Reuters and Taiwan's Digitimes, reported that the project had reached its final stage of engineering tests, and that Xiaomi expects to launch its first public teasers in 2026, provided current tests proceed without critical issues. Think about what this means. A company that for years was dismissed as an Apple imitator, a brand accused of copying design after design, is now preparing to deliver a powerful blow to Apple itself, the company that shaped the mobile industry's identity for years. Now, the situation is unfolding in reverse. A brand accused of copying may become the first manufacturer on the planet to introduce a device that completely changes the traditional understanding of a smartphone. And if these reports are confirmed, Apple will for the first time in many years find itself in the position of the one catching up. This isn't speculation. It's a point that is already being discussed in analytical reports from Bloomberg Intelligence and Counterpoint Research, which state directly that the appearance of a transparent device, if functional, would create an effect comparable to the launch of the first iPhone, but in favor of a Chinese brand. So how is this even possible? Until recently, such technology was considered nearly impossible. Transparent displays existed, but were fragile, too expensive, and required putting all components in separate blocks. Xiaomi's MyTV Luxe Transparent Edition was a sensation, an ultra-thin, transparent OLED panel just 5.7 millimeters thick with no visible electronics behind it. But all computing hardware was placed in a massive base unit. With a smartphone, this trick is impossible. The battery, modem, camera, chips, and antennas all must be inside the device. According to sources, this became the primary challenge for Xiaomi's engineers. To move closer to the idea of a fully transparent phone, they had to perform a deep modular redesign of all internal systems. According to one technical analyst, the company is using a new layout where part of the components is placed inside an ultra-thin edge module almost invisible to the eye, while others are concealed within the glass structure through the use of a transparent conductive layer that becomes visible only under certain lighting conditions. The engineering here is absolutely insane. Rumor has it the engineers are also testing prototypes based on new generation hybrid mini batteries with partially light-transmitting structures, while cameras are integrated under the glass using the same principles Xiaomi refined in the under-display camera technologies of its Mi Mix flagships. Even in its early patents, Xiaomi hinted at similar developments. Between 2020 to 2028, Onikontai as equivalents for devices with wraparound displays, optical structures, and transparent bodies were filed in the Chinese CNEPA database. Then it all looked like futurism for exhibitions. But now, according to analysts, part of those ideas has been integrated into a real project. Moreover, in recent months, leaks have begun to mention tests of a special layer of reinforced transparent composite that will serve both as glass and as the load-bearing structure, effectively replacing the housing. According to sources, internal prototypes resemble a glass slab with no traditional back cover, no visible cameras, no plastic frames, only a perfectly transparent surface that lights up from within when the interface is activated. But wait. There's another massive problem that insiders call, perhaps, the most difficult one: readability. A transparent display means the user sees everything behind the device: the table, the hand, the lighting, the room's background. This creates visual noise that would make the phone essentially unusable. To solve this, engineers developed a multi-layer OLED module capable of switching from a transparent mode to a semi-transparent one, and then to a fully opaque state. Similar to smart glass technology, this mode can completely darken the background when displaying the interface, providing readability comparable to a regular smartphone. According to sources, Xiaomi is testing adaptive dimming that adjusts automatically to lighting conditions. Now, here's where Apple should be terrified. The most interesting part is that this project could seriously reshape the entire smartphone market. If Xiaomi truly unveils a device of this caliber in 2026, Apple will face several problems at once. First, an image blow. Global media will inevitably call this the beginning of a new era in which Apple has lost the initiative. Second, a technological race. Such developments demand enormous investments and years of planning, while Apple, according to industry sources, is focusing on AR glasses, camera improvements, and ecosystem expansion rather than on experimental form factors. Third, the psychological factor. If Xiaomi becomes the first to release a transparent smartphone, part of the audience will see it as a symbol that innovation has shifted from Cupertino to Beijing. Barclays analysts have already written in their report that even if a transparent smartphone remains niche, the mere fact of its appearance could give Xiaomi the aura of a technological leader, and this may prove the most painful aspect for Apple. Think about the irony here. For over a decade, Apple has been the company that makes everyone else play catch-up. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone, but it defined what smartphones should be. Now, a company they once dominated might force them into a reactive position for the first time since the original iPhone launch. It is hard to say what the final version of the device will look like. Insiders call it Mi Mix Transparent or Xiaomi Transparent Edition, but there is no official name yet. Specifications also remain secret. One thing is clear. If the latest tests are successful, the world may indeed see the first fully working transparent smartphone in 2026. Experts from TechRadar and GSM Arena cautiously note that the leaks appear surprisingly consistent, and internal sources describe the project as the most ambitious in Xiaomi's history. And although the official announcement is still far away, it seems the company is truly preparing for a historic step. Xiaomi already has the necessary technological groundwork: functional transparent OLED panels, experience building transparent device prototypes, its own under-display camera technologies, unique composite glass materials, and experiments with devices lacking visible ports or cutouts. If engineers have managed to combine these developments into a single device and solve the main challenges, component placement, battery life, durability, readability, and color reproduction on a transparent panel, then the world may indeed be on the threshold of a new era. And this era will begin not in Cupertino, but in Beijing. Now, all that remains is to wait for official news, which according to IDC analysts may appear much earlier than expected, possibly as early as mid-2026 if Xiaomi decides to release a first teaser amid rapidly growing interest in new form factors. If everything is confirmed, the smartphone world will indeed be on the verge of a revolution comparable in scale to the arrival of the first iPhone. Only this time, Apple risks, for the first time in many years, finding itself in the role of the one that follows, while Xiaomi may become the symbol of a new technological era where the boundary between fiction and reality nearly disappears. So here's the question that matters. Is this the moment everything changes? Will 2026 be remembered as the year a Chinese company overtook Apple in innovation? And if Xiaomi pulls this off, can Apple ever recover the crown they've worn for so long? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, Team Xiaomi or Team Apple. And if you want to stay ahead of the biggest tech stories before they explode, hit that subscribe button right now.